Hello, hello, and happy Thursday. Just pulling out my scissors. Hope everybody's doing well. I actually jumped on probably a couple seconds earlier than actually at 7 o'clock. And my husband asked me what I was making tonight, and I showed him the cards. Check this out. And I opened them. I forgot to do the inside of my cards for tonight. I can't believe it. I'll explain to you why during the video, but I hope everybody's doing well. Okay, before we get started, we're coming into the last week of registration for September's craft box. And this month I used the Splendid Thoughts bundle. And I just wanted to quick show you the cards in the craft box this month. These are all just regular cards. The insides are done. Hi, Sharon. Thank you. And this one is something different. It's actually called a slide card, and it is folded with the double front. And then this piece actually slides, if I can get it, right off the card. And I got to get it. I don't want to ruin it. But it slides right off the card. And then it just opens up to the inside. Hey, Kathleen. And it just slides back on. So you can display the card, and then this is a separate piece, which is pretty neat. And then I did this cute little gift box with this awesome bow. Isn't that amazing? I made it with the designer series paper, and it's just a double wall top with a single wall bottom with this really cool designer series paper bow. So that is the September craft box. Registration closes September 15th. And then on October 4th, I'm going to have a Abigail Rose online event. Hi, Margaret. How are you, honey? And there are a few options if you want to craft along with me. And for these cards, the images that have to be colored, if you buy the Make and Takes, I will send you a link as a color along. Hey, Do. Hi, Karen. So when we do the event on the 4th, all your images and coloring will be completed. So I showed some sneak peeks, but we're going to do this card. I have this card here. And then so far I have this card here with an awesome technique using the pearl enamel. So those are 3 of the 5 cards. Number 4 I'll post tomorrow. So tonight we are working with trees. And I'll tell you, like I said, if you're coming in late, I created my cards and forgot the inside on both of them. And why did that happen? Well, as everybody knows, I've been trying to tick things off of Bill's bucket list. His next procedure is September 19th, and he's a little worried about it. So there were 4 things on his list that he wanted to achieve before this procedure. And we did 2 of them. And then yesterday, we made a trip to see Emma, who is in the group with us. She's my daughter. She had Liara last October. So Liara is going to be a year old the first week of October. And I've only seen her via FaceTime. I never met her in person. And I'm going to start to cry. I am not a city person. Emma knows I do not like the city. I don't like driving in the city. But Bill wanted to meet Liara. So did I, but it was on Bill's list. So yesterday we left early yesterday morning and went to Manhattan, New York to meet the baby. And it was amazing. I love her to death. Hi, Sheila. How are you, honey? Well, enjoy your night at work. And it was amazing. She's a sweet little thing. And I have to tell you, when we left, we got 30 miles away from Emma's house, and it took us 2.5 hours. It was so crazy. The traffic in the city is just unbelievable. So that's why I forgot the insides of the cards. I'm just not with it yet today, and just bear with me. So we have one more thing to knock off the list. Excuse me. And that is to go to the beach. So not this weekend because Bill's pretty worn out. We're going to do it not this weekend, next weekend, and I'm going to take him to the beach, and I'm going to head down where my other daughter lives. She's in Maryland, and she works in Ocean City. Ocean City. And we're going to head to one of the beaches over there so we can see her and her children. So it was a crazy day today. So let's just get started and play, and I'll do the inside of tonight's card. As everybody knows, I will have a PDF for these in the room tomorrow. And just as an update, because someone had missed something I posted, for now on, if I have any announcements about sales or products that I think you'll like, I'm going to keep them as a pinned post at the top of my group page. Okay. So instead of having to scroll through and look to see what I've posted, I'll always put it up top so you can see it in the pinned post. I hope that'll help a little bit. All right. So we're going to start with basic white. And this is a basic 8.5 by 5.5. And it's scored at 4.25. And we are going to post it landscape. And then I have, and I'm changing, actually I changed the front of this card, not even thinking about the inside of the card. I'm going to add another layer of basic white, and this should be 5.25 by 4. And then I'm going to add a layer of the balmy blue just to match the sky and the trees. They're stamped in balmy blue. And this is 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. So we're going to layer these and then create on this last piece of basic white, and it's 3 3/4 by 5. So let's just get these down first so we can get it out of the way. So I hope everybody's week is going well. Can you believe it's Thursday already? I can't. The days just seem to fly by. All right, so let's just layer this down. And we know this is about, this is 1/4 inch. So if you get 3 of your sides even, your 4th one should be even also. And then we're just going to add our seal to this layer. Take our balmy blue and do the exact same thing. Okay. Hey, Pam. Yeah, it was. I'm glad we made the trip. Thank you, Karen. It was, like I said, it's stressful for me to drive in the city. The last time I was in the city was when Emma moved. And when I left, there was a lot of traffic. And I was sitting at a light. And because I did not start right away when the light changed, I had a taxi behind me. And he rammed me in the back to get me to start moving. And being alone, I did not get out of my car. I just left because it scared me. So that was my experience when I went in the last time. So I just was unsure of what was going to happen. So that was my experience for yesterday. All right. So we're starting with this card. And actually what I used on this card is the fence stamp, which you can see right here, and it's embossed in white. So you can't really tell, but you can catch that shimmer just a little bit. And then all I did was I took this tree right here. So that's what I'm using for this card. And let me just get a piece of scrap paper. Let's see if I can grab one quick. I think I used up all my scrap, so I'm going to just grab a big piece and cut it down. And I'm going to try to, just for the time being, I'm going to move the camera down so don't get seasick. I just want you to be able to see what I'm going to do. I'm going to move that up out of this shadow here. All right. So let's get the tree. We have the tree right here. And I'm going to grab my Balmy Blue. Now, I already did my trees for the card. I have them right here. So I'm just going to put them up at the top. But I did do them and I die cut them already. So we're just going to ink up our tree. And I'm going to stamp it. Okay? And like I said, this is in the Balmy Blue. Now, where this is a photopolymer stamp, and we can see through it, it makes life a little simple. And what I did was, I took my Versamark, and don't look at that dirty Versamark pad, and I inked up my stamp, and looking through this stamp, I actually tried to line it up, and then just moved it up a hair, and then stamped it in the Versamark, and then added the white embossing powder. And that is how I got it so we could see the blue. And then you can also, it's hard to see because of the light, but you can also see the white embossing. So it looks like, in a way it is, I'll tell you exactly how to do it. Hey, Kathy. Hey, Margaret. So that is how I did the trees. Okay, really quick and easy. But like I said, when you're looking through the stamp, just shift it up just ever so slightly. And this way you'll have the blue or green, whatever color you're going to use, show underneath the embossing. Okay, so then you don't have just a plain white tree. So here's our back layer. I'm going to grab some Blushing Bride. and I'm going to come back up a little bit, and my blending brush, and I'm just going to ink it up, and we're going to go right down the center of this white layer. And you don't want to darken it all at once. You just want to layer that color, and you can make it as dark or as light as you want. We want to have some pink right down the center of the card. Okay, so we have a little bit of pink right in the center. Now we're going to go back to our balmy blue. We're going to change our brushes. And we're going to do the same thing, and we're going to add the blue to the top of this layer. And I'm going to overlap it just a little bit on the pink. Then you'll have a little bit of a purple glow right there. And we're just going to add some color. We want the sky. It doesn't have to be a solid blue. If you have little white spaces, they could mimic clouds. So it doesn't have to be a completely solid blue sky. Okay? Just going to get that center just a little bit more. Okay. So there we have just some color in the background, so it's not completely white. Thanks, Karen. Then what I did is, if I can find it, I took a 2-inch circle punch and I cut out half a circle for my moon. And what I did was, again with the balmy blue, you'll notice on my moon that there's some balmy blue in it, just so it looks like a little bit of shadows on the moon. And all I did was I took my brush, tapped it on the ink pad, and then just tapped it on the moon, just so it adds a few little dots, okay, on the moon, so it's not so stark white. So now we have our moon. Let's get rid of this. We don't need this right now. So we have our moon. We have our 3 trees. I'm going to grab a layer of basic white. And this is 4 7/8 by 2. And then I cut another one. And this is 4 by 1.5. And the larger one that fits the whole base is this one in the back. So all I'm going to do, you don't need a die of any sort. I'm just going to take this layer and I'm going to cut so it looks like a mound of snow. Very quick, very simple, and that is going to go at the bottom of the card. So we have one hill of snow. Then I want another one on this side, and I'm going to cut it in the opposite direction. I want my hill to be on this side so I can put the tree, the lone tree here. Thanks, Kathy. And I am just going to do the same thing. I'm just going to make my mound of snow just like that. Very easy. And that's going to go on this side, and we're going to pop that up. I'm going to put those aside. I already did cut out my fence, and as you can see, I embossed it with white. Let me just grab the stamp set. It's this stamp right here. I stamped it in Versamark and embossed it in white. And then it has the exact same fence that we can die cut. Okay? And it fits in here perfectly. You would have to line up the first and second and third post within the hole and then die cut it, and this is how it'll come out. It's perfect. And then also in this set is this crazy looking die right here. It is very odd looking, but what it actually does, and I'm going to pull in my paper again, and the stamp that goes to that die. And it's actually the Merry Christmas to you and yours. So what you would do is stamp your sentiment, Merry Christmas to you and yours. And then you take your die, and I'm going to move this camera down a minute, so just watch you don't get dizzy. And you're just going to take this and you're going to line it up, and it has the little cutout for the M and the C, and you're going to line it up just so you can see the writing on through the die cut. I would suggest, if you don't have a magnetic piece to your cut and emboss machine, use some washi tape. Just take your tape, and I like to just stick it on my hand to get some of the stickiness off. Make sure it's lined up just the way you want it, and then add a piece of washi tape, and it'll hold it in place so you can run it through without it shifting or moving, and you'll get the perfect die cut. And it just cuts out the Merry Christmas to you and yours. Okay, so let's come back up. Hi, Marilyn. How are you? Hi, Janice. Aw, well, welcome, honey. I'm glad you're here, too. All right, so that would be how we cut out our sentiment. So let's just grab our card again, and you can see I already got some blue on the bottom, but that's okay because we're going to cover it with the hills. But before we start assembling, I'm going to take out a block. I am going to add just about 2 drops, and this is really thick. This is the Whisper White Pigment Ink refill. And I'm going to grab my water painter. Now, before I do anything, I'm just going to move this stuff out of the way, because you've ever splattered on your cards, you know that it splatters everywhere. So we're just going to move that over to play it safe. You know me. So now that we have our ink and our water painter, I hope this is the right one. Yep. We're going to put some drops of water, and we're going to water this down so it's nice and fluidy. And then what we're going to do is make sure that brush has a lot of liquid on it, and you're just going to tap it onto this card, the front card base, and we are creating snow. You can do as much or as little as you want. Now you'll notice that right now they're little dots on the paper. They will soak into the paper and become little dots if you can see, they're just little white dots. They're flat now. They're not any little bumps. Okay, so we're just creating some snow at the top of our card. And like I said, as little or as many as you want. And we'll just leave it like that, hoping that it dries pretty quick. You want to make sure you clean off your blocks right away. The night I used my block for, I don't know, something we played with, I still haven't been able to get it clean. I should have cleaned it right away, and I did not. Okay, so here we have our layer of the front of our card. We'll start with our moon. So let's grab our moon. We're going to add some glue. Oh my, look at that. It worked. And I'm going to put this right up here. I got to be careful because the snow is still drying. Okay, so now that is glued on to the sky. Hi, Mona. How are you? Ah, Maryland. Maryland. Very good. Okay. So next, we're going to add our highest snow mound. Okay. And this one also, I am just going to glue it right down to the front of the card. And we want it to sit even. I'm going to lift this up gently. Just push it down so it's even across the bottom. And then we have our first snow mound. We can take our second snow mound. I want to make sure that I don't miss anything. And we're going to pop this one up on this side. So let's just push that up. I'll show you a quick and easy way so you have a little maneuverability when you add your dimensionals. So I just added 3 dimensionals. And I know I want this to be right here level with the bottom of the card. And as soon as I put this on the front of the card, you know it's going to stick. So I'm just going to take some glue and I'm going to put a little bit of glue right in the center of my dimensionals. And that's just going to give me a little bit of wiggle room so I can get this on the front of the card without it permanently sticking. Okay, so I can lay it down. I'm not pushing on it yet. I want it to be level with the bottom of the card. And that looks good. Now I can go and push those dimensionals down. Okay, so it'll catch and it'll hold. But that glue just allowed a little bit of wiggle room so we could get that piece on there straight. So let's work on these 2 trees right here. Like I said, I stamped them in Balmy Blue, and then I stamped them again, just going up a little bit, and embossed them in white. So what I want to do with these trees is I want to cut the tops off. Okay, I just want the top of the tree because I want it to be a little tree. Now we know that this is a hill, and I just want to cut them at an angle just a little bit. So it's going to create another layer or another angle of hill, okay? And I'll show you why in a second. My next tree, I want to cut it just a little bit smaller. and I want to cut it again at an angle. And we're going to put this one, I got to cut it a little bit more of an angle. This one's going to go right here. We know the trees have to be upright, right? Just like that. So it looks crazy, right? So let's just glue these two in place and see how they look. I want them to be, that trunk of the tree to be upright. So let's do this one too. And we're going to get this one where that trunk of that tree is upright. Now this looks horrible, right? The end where it's, thanks, Stu. Oh, I will try it, Karen. Thank you. So now these are glued down, but this looks terrible. So what I did is I grabbed some Snowfall Accents puff paint. Now, before you use it, you want to give it a good shake. And then we're going to put a line of puff paint right underneath these trees. Okay, so we put a line of puff paint. Can you see that? And then we're going to take our heat gun and we're going to heat it up. And you'll see it start to puff. It does take a little bit. There it goes. So you can see, and I was too close, I burnt the paper a little bit. So you can see that little puff paint there. We'll fix that right away. Thankfully, the tree, we're going to put our fence right here. Okay. So we're going to, this is popped up. So we have to pop up the right-hand side. What do I have under here? We have to pop up this side of the fence. So let me grab a chunky pair of scissors. And I'm just going to cut a very thin strip of the dimensional. And let's see if I can do this. I don't know what I did with my pokey tool. And we're just going to lay this down right on this end piece. And then glue on this end. So it'll be level with that layer. So we want this fence post to be right at the end of our card. And then we want it glued right here to this hill. So I'm just going to hold that for a second. And just putting some things away while I'm holding this down so I can see what I did. Here it is. See what I did with my pokey tool. All right. So now we have these little trees on their own little hill. Now we're going to put the large tree on this hill. So let's pull it out. Again, this is popped up. So we're going to have to pop up the top of the tree. So let's grab a dimensional. And I'm just going to put one dimensional at the top of the tree. And we're going to add glue to the bottom of the tree. We want this tree to be level with this layer. Okay, that's the reason I'm doing it. And let's put this tree right about here. We want that tree to stand out. Okay, so there is that part. Yes, I did emboss the fence, and I did it in white, Emma. Okay, so let's pull our card base in so we can get this onto the front of our card. And I'm going to use some seal before we go any further. Let's get this mounted on the front. And like I said, I added this extra balmy blue layer from the original. You know, I didn't do it on the original card. Okay. And I think I like that better. It just really outlines. I'm going to move this up a little. It just really outlines the front image itself. We have our Merry Christmas, and we're going to do the same thing again. We're going to adhere it to the hill, but it needs to be popped up on this back layer. So let's grab a mini dimensional, and we'll put it on this side. Make sure I'm on camera. And then we're going to add the glue, and I'm going to make sure, yep, this is the merry side. I'm going to add glue to the merry side. You can take this paper off. And I'm going to put this on right at the base of this tree. And we're going to hide the end right here. Okay, so let's get this on. So then you can always see that if there's something on your card you do not like, placement of your sentiment. That's a little crooked, so let me just look at this a second. And embellishments fixes it all. Remember that. Okay, so there's our Merry Christmas. Now again, I forgot to check if anybody knows offhand. You can add it in the comments, please. But I'm using this, and I don't think it's available anymore, sparkly ribbon. And we're going to give this a little trim and create a bow for the front of this card. Oh, look at that. They must have ran out and added a piece. That's okay. Let's see if we can do it with this one. So we're just going to make a quick bow. This ribbon is actually very, very hard to create a bow with because it's so stiff. But so you want to just be careful, because when you pull, it does actually pull the ribbon itself. Well, I'm in good company then, Margaret. It's the perfect way, right? We never make mistakes. And if we do, we always have that opportunity to cover them up. So if anybody is watching on YouTube, could you hit that like button? It really does help with the algorithm. And even on Facebook, if you could hit that like or love button, I'd appreciate it. I've been trying to grow even just my, oh, look at that. It's stuck to my finger. My YouTube channel, and it's grown really well in the last month. So I'm trying to get it so it grows just a little bit more. All right, so let's add that bow right to that tree. And then there is the front of our card. So like I said, this one, I didn't add this blue border, and I think I like it much better. It just makes the card, it's not so washed out. Okay, so now, since I didn't do my card, inside of my card today, let's do it tonight. Let's grab a piece of scrap paper, and we can do something very simple. Let's pull that tree back, and we will use this tree on the inside to mimic the outside. So I'm just grabbing my Balmy Blue, and I'm going to put it sideways. I know that the trees have to go this way. It'll make it easier for me to stamp, I think. So we're just going to ink up. Let's put a tree here. Okay. And we'll ink up, and we'll mimic the other side too. So let's put a tree here, and then we'll just pull it down a little bit, and another one there. And we'll close this up. So just a very simple inside. We're mimicking the trees on the front of the card. And this is 5 3/8 by 4 1/8, I believe. Yes, it is. And then this one is 5 1/4 by 4. So let's add some seal, because I don't want the glue to show through the basic white. And we'll just layer this up. And then I can use glue. Oops. To add this to the center of our card. Oh, I must have ink on my fingers. I see a spot. Okay. So there we go. That's card number 1. Thanks, Margaret. Thanks, Pamela. So very quick and easy, little bit of stamping, a little blending, and you'll see now, see the snow? They're no longer little dots off the front of the card. They're flat and they're dry. Okay, so you have a nice wintry scene. Oh, awesome, Karen. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Because I think eventually I'll probably go to YouTube all the time to make it easier, so I can get rid of StreamYard and take that payment away. I'm trying to go over all my future finances just in case, and I gotta cut back wherever I can save. Thanks, Marilyn. Oh, you wrote the wrong RSVP date? Oh, do. Okay, so the second card, it's another quick and easy card. I tried to make it as easy as possible tonight. I guess my brain isn't functioning. So I decided to use the beauty of friendship because I love these trees. And this stamp here is perfect for embossing. And then I also love the tree with no leaves. And the same thing with the dies. It has the tree, and that's what I used back here, with no leaves, just the branches. So I actually ran this through the cut and emboss machine and die cut it in white. Okay, this much I did do, so go figure. And then we have our basic card layer again, 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, and it's scored at 4 1/4. All right, So there is our card base. Just got a little spot on there. So let's move that up. I'm going to quick get a drink. Sorry, ladies. It's getting warm in here. There's no happy medium for me. I had the door open so the air conditioner could cool it off. And I was actually thinking about putting a sweatshirt on. And then I decided against it. Thank goodness I did, because now I'm sweating. All right, I'm just checking my layers. So again, don't worry about the dimensions. You'll have a PDF tomorrow. I'm going to layer it with a basic white layer, 5 1/4 by 4. Then I'm going to layer it again with balmy blue, and this is 5 1/8 by 3 7/8. And then the layer that we're going to stamp and work with is 5 by 3 3/4. So let's get these layered together. I can actually glue this one to the white, so I don't have to worry that it won't show through on the colored cardstock. So let's just layer these together. And I like using the glue because it gives me a little bit of wiggle room, so I can make sure that it's at least on here somewhat straight. And then here we have our card base. And this one, I can actually glue this to the card base because we won't see that glue through the layers. So we're just going to layer that on the front. So there we go. We have the same exact card base that we used for the first card. Now we're going to pull in our basic white layer that's going to be the front of the card. Now for this one, I decided to use soft succulent. I could have used the blue, balmy blue, but I figured I'd change up the color a little bit. And we're going to pull our scrap piece in again. So I want to again show you, because I do have my tree already done for you. So I'm going to grab my soft succulent, and I'm going to grab this tree, and I think I need to actually grab it. So let me just see. Yep. It's right here. Nice and stained. So again, it is this tree first. And you can tell the difference because now that it's all stained, you'll see darker pink and lighter pink. Hi, Ruth. How are you, honey? I love trees too. Thanks, Kathleen. Okay, so you can tell what stamp you're using by the light and the dark color. And we're going to ink this up and stamp it. You want to make sure I should have used a pad. Okay, so now you can see this stamp is awesome because it gives you the highlights and the shadows. So it makes it look like a 3-dimensional tree on a flat surface. Okay, that's what this stamp does. So now let's get rid of that stamp for a moment. And we're going to pull in this stamp here. Okay, this one looks a little different. Let me actually get my spray and clean this one off a little bit. This one, for some reason, I must not use it so often because it's not really stained. See, I like the tree with the shadows. Let's just give it a little scrub there, okay? But you can tell this one because all you really see, and it's really not that good, you can't really tell, all you really see are these parts here on the front of the stamp. You're only going to get this. So it's actually the dark areas of this tree. Okay, that's what's on this one. So I wanted this tree also to have snow on it, but I also want to see the dark and the light of this stamp. So after grabbing my Versamark, I'm going to ink it up really well. You'll notice that this lines up perfectly with the dark pieces of this stamp. So you're just going to shift it up just a hair and then emboss it in white. Now you want to remember, make sure your green ink is dry because it will grab hold of the embossing powder. You can also use your embossing buddy and just emboss it. Use the embossing buddy to take the static off. Stamp your Versamark by shifting it up a little. Emboss it in white. And then you'll get an embossed tree that you still see the dark and you still see the light of this tree. Okay? That's exactly what I did. So now we have our embossed tree. We have our naked tree. And we want to go back to, not this one, we're going to go back to our original stamp. Okay. I think I'm going to pull in my stamping pad. I must have my other one out here somewhere too. Let's just cover this up. Let's pull in our layer. Okay. And I have my original tree. And what I want to do is grab my soft succulent. We're going to ink up this really good. And I just want to make sure. And I'm going to stamp off. So I'm going to stamp it on my scrap paper. And then I'm going to stamp it on the front of my card. I want it really light on the front of the card. And we're going to do it again. We're going to ink it up. We're going to stamp it on our scrap. Now this time I'm going to move it down just a hair. And we're going to stamp it again. So these are trees that are in the background. The snow is falling. You know they're there. You can see them. But the snow is creating... Thanks, Kathy. Thank you. The snow is falling and it's coming down so hard. You can see the tree, but it's obscured by just this blowing snow. Okay, that's the effect I wanted. Now what we're going to do is I am going to grab the Pearlized Enamel Effects. Now I think I told you last week, if you grab even your sheet of embellishments that, as you can tell, this one is pretty empty, but you can take this Pearl Effects and it comes in red, black, and this is white. You don't want to hold it at an angle. You want to hold it up and down. So this tip is down at your paper. And you can create your own embellishments. Now what'll happen when you first, and you can make them any size, and I'll show you. Let me see if I can. When you first do it, you're going to notice it's like a cone shape. But as it begins to dry, that tip on the top of the little half circle or half sphere, I should say, does round off. So it is a perfect little pearl. And looking at it, you can see it looks like a pearl. You want to make sure it dries, though. You want to give it a good amount of time before you start touching it or trying to remove it. And then what I would do is, if it's large enough to hide a glue dot, use a glue dot. If not, just put a dot of liquid glue and lift that off and add it to your card. Okay, so it's a quick and easy way to make some pearl embellishments. After this is dry, you can also color them with your blends. Okay, just a quick tip. Okay, so let's pull our card front back in, and we're going to pull in our pearls, and we are going to make snow with these pearls. Now I want to just dab these all on the front of this card. I don't want them all the same size. I'm putting them around randomly. I am actually pushing down on the paper and then pulling it up so they're not perfect little pearls. And I'll show you. I'll pull it up closer. So you'll notice, you can't really tell. Oh, yes, you can. So you'll notice that there is some flat on the sheet itself, and then there is a little pearl-like embellishment. And pulling the one that's already dry, you'll see how it actually dries. Okay, they do come out really nice on the front of the card, and it just gives them a nice little shimmer. So we can, let's just add some more down here. I want to put my sentiment there. All right, I'm going to put my sentiment here. Now where these pearls have to dry, I should have done my sentiment first, but that's okay. I'm going to pat this with my embossing buddy. And I'm going to grab my May Joy Fill Your Heart This Season. And we're going to emboss this on the front. I'm going to grab my gold embossing powder, and we're going to do this very carefully so I don't hit those pearls on the top. I should have embossed it first, yes. So I'm working backwards, and I just want to put this right here. I want to make sure it's on here straight. So stamp that really well. I'm going to pull in my scrap piece of paper again. And I just want to emboss just this corner. And then when I heat it with the heat gun, I just want to hit this corner. I don't want to hit the pearls because it does bubble up and burn, just so you know. All right, let's just hit that again up here. Okay, I think that's good. So let's heat it up. All right, welcome back to, hey Elizabeth. All right, So there is my sentiment, and it is embossed. Oh, wasn't it a sad day with Queen Elizabeth today? That was so sad that she passed. But she didn't seem well for her jubilee, so I just feel so sad. All right, I'm going to put this on the front of the card. Now, this is a little warped here, so I'm actually going to add some glue right to this corner. Okay, so I can hold that down a little bit. And then we're going to add some seal. And I'm going to very gently, I should have probably put the layer down first, but why do things easily? And we're going to just lay this on the front of the card, making sure it's on here even. We don't want to push on that pearl enamel, but we want to get this down. So I'm just going to hold this corner. I'm going to go in between. Okay, not bad. But I just want to hold this corner for a second. All right, it didn't really glue right here. So let's just take a scrap that I ripped. I'm just going to add a little bit of glue. We're going to stick it right under and then hold it down and pull it out. I still have some glue left. So I'm going to come up here to this corner because it's not really glued. I'm just going to stick it under, pull it out, and now it's glued down really nicely. Okay, so you don't have to rip it up and make a mess of your card. All right, now we want this tree to not go over the edge of the card. So I am going to just trim about 1/4 of an inch off the bottom of this tree. And I'm actually going to glue it to the back of this Christmas tree. And I'm going to put it so we don't see the tree trunk. All right. And we're going to glue it so it's off to the side a little bit, but we are going to glue it to the back of this tree. So let's add some glue. Let's lay this down. I want to make sure that the tree is straight, and then we have our tree behind it that's pretty straight. And why did I do that? Because I want them both to be popped up on the front of the card, and there's really not many spaces to add dimensionals to the limbs. So I figured this way, now I can turn this over and I can add a dimensional right here at the top of this pine tree. And then I can add my dimensionals to the rest of the pine tree, and it will support this tree in the back. So let's pull in our card, and we're going to set this on the front. I can see that trunk right there. We're just going to lay this over to the left, and I want it to be right here at the bottom. But again, I don't really want it going off the card. So we're just going to put that there. And there is the front of our card. Okay, quick and easy. Not that quick, I guess. It's already 8 o'clock. So now let's grab the inside. And let's just do the same thing where I didn't finish my cards. Shame on me. Let's grab that really cute tree. And we're going to actually add it. I'm going to do half of it. So we'll do it a little different. Ink it up really good with soft succulent. That's what I'm doing over here on the side. I'm going to use the tip of that tree. I want it right here at the bottom. And I'm just going to stamp half of the tree on the side. I'm going to ink it up again. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I'm just going to ink it up and then stamp it on this side. And pull in our card base. I just want to remind everybody, if you're interested in my reward club, you can find the link at the top of my blog. If you join and you purchase $25 worth of product for 6 consecutive months, at the end of each month, you'll get a recipe for a card. And this is the one that'll be going out for September. And you'll get a PDF. You'll get a recipe card. At the end of the 6 months, you'll get a photo album that you can score all your recipes in. Plus, I will give you a $30 voucher to go shopping in my store. So you'll get $30 worth of product free at the end of 6 months. Plus the make and takes for a technique card each month. And then a recipe card that you'll be able to store in your little album after 6 months. So again, it's on the top of my blog. You can check it out. All right. So there we go. Just quick and easy. 2 little trees on either side. If we wanted to get even crazier, we could actually stamp them so the tops of the trees would be down here. Okay, thank you. So I'm going to actually put this card on the top. So here's this card tonight. And here is the other card. Now, I forgot to pick a winner last week. So this week I will be picking 2 winners from all, thanks Florence, from all, only 705 there. I'll be picking 2 winners from all the comments from last week and tonight. So I'll be putting that in the group tomorrow. So be on the lookout. Yes, Margaret, you would have to join, go to YouTube and join, correct. Thanks, Elizabeth. It didn't show, okay. Yes. Oh, did my phone go off? I guess it didn't go off tonight. Maybe my phone's not here. I probably didn't bring my phone in, so hopefully Bill didn't fall asleep and he took his medicine. All right, ladies. So thanks for joining me tonight. I'm going to be back on Saturday with a Simple Saturday card, and we're going to be using the Penguin Place stamp set. So I hope you'll join me. I think we'll do maybe a birthday card instead of Christmas cards with them. Hey, Sharon. Aw, thanks, honey. I hope you had a great day. Thank you, Margaret. Okay, nope, you didn't message him. Okay, that's fine. He probably heard the alarm and took care of it. Thanks for joining me, ladies. I appreciate you all so much, and I'll talk to you soon. You're all welcome. Bye-bye.